Hey guys, good morning. So welcome to part two of our five-part series on how to really pivot your business or consulting business in these times of uncertainty and change. So yesterday we did part one, and we really talked about critical thinking, how to really understand the problem, how to really deep dive and make sure you're getting to the root issue. So now you know the problem. Hopefully, you know the problem. And next, we need to figure out the solution. Now, really, with the solution, there's really only three main areas that you can adjust or change completely or rethink to make this problem better for you. So you can either, depending on what it is, you can either increase sales or increase revenue. I think these are kind of obvious, right? You can either decrease expenses, or you can change your business model and or the market that you're serving, or you can add or delete customers that may not be profitable, that may be more profitable, customers that are more willing to accept a certain business model, right? So that's kind of a big category there, but it's necessary. So really, it's mainly those three areas. Now, within those three areas, you can of course have a multitude of solutions based around that. You can just go out and make more phone calls, or you can do an email campaign, or you can just go ask for referrals. There's all kinds of ways you can increase revenue, drive sales. Hire a salesperson if you're able to invest in that. Invest in sales skills if you want to do that. Again, expense reduction might be get rid of an employee, unfortunately. Get rid of software maintenance if you have that. Get rid of some type of recurring item that you're just not using, that or maybe the return is less than what you want. Maybe you're still getting a little return on it, but it's just not enough to justify the expense. So get rid of it. So again, there's all kinds of ways you can look at that. You can, if you're good at sales, maybe you can take on the sales yourself and eliminate a salesperson or a sales team, or maybe you have it outsourced that you want to bring in-house, and maybe that makes better sense. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. On the third category, you can obviously do market research on your own and say, oh, well, if I add this demographic, they're more likely to buy when you're in a panic mode. Or if I switch to providing this product and service and maybe modify it a little bit, I can also reach out this extra market of 100,000 people. Or I can, these are customers that are repeat buyers. So get rid of problem customers that you're spending so much money on new customer acquisition costs, and turn around and go with more of the customers and service them at a much cheaper rate, because they're already customers. They already trust you. They've already bought. So try to embrace those relationships and drive revenue that way. So, I think the key is finding the solution. And we just talked about the three categories, but the key is make sure that the solution matches the problem. I think that's the first thing. Just because you have a problem and, oh, I found the root cause, don't go off and do something that's outside of that particular problem, because you're not cohesive. You don't have a good relationship between the problem and the solution. And that's what you really need to get back to. So if you find the root of your problem is bad organizational culture within your sales team, okay, well, don't go off and do expense reduction and just get rid of them. Understand the problem and understand that, okay, do I need to invest in, say I need to bring in someone who can help with organizational culture. Maybe I can figure this out. Maybe I can figure it out and introduce ways to improve the organizational culture. Maybe it does require eliminating one person on the team who is toxic or who just doesn't have a good attitude and it's bringing the rest of the team down. Maybe it's providing mentorship or training for the supervisor of the team. Maybe it's, because people leave bad bosses. They don't leave companies. So that's another way to go. So make sure that the solution fits the problem. On your expense reduction side, don't just be cutting because I can cut. Cut because it makes sense. I literally just dealt with a client that, they're overreacting on COVID and they're cutting every single thing they can. Okay, cool. You have to reduce expenses, but what's your long term? It's not part of a plan. It's a knee-jerk reaction. And unfortunately, it's a very immature business practice, which surprisingly has been going on for hundreds of years. I understand expense reduction, but you have to also, again, what is your problem and what is the solution? If you literally have zero money left to make people's payroll and you don't have any other choice, okay, that stinks. But there's always a solution for every problem, and there's always a better solution than the one you implemented. There always is. There's always a better solution. We have infinite number of solutions and ways to get there, so we have to learn to critically think and take advantage of those. And so that situation is born out of desperation, and it really is not in alignment with what the ultimate issue is. And there's not, take into account, do you have staying power? Let's stay the course. Let's let cooler heads prevail. Let's get people on our team to talk about how we can up our game, up revenue, drive costs down. Let's do it together as a team. But by doing it as a knee-jerk reaction, it's a very contractionary and it's a very immature business move, in my opinion. And I think that the negatives will always outweigh the positives on that one for years and years to come. That's not an immediate return. That'll be something that will hurt you as a business owner or a consultant for a very, very long time. That's a hard one to come back from. In anything, if you kill your sales team, but yet the problem was driving revenue, well, again, you shot yourself in the foot, and you're going to have to figure out a new way forward. With kind of moving into new business practices, new revenue models, maybe new markets, that really boils down to, did you do a good job with your market research? Because if you don't know what that market's going to do, you may get into a point where you're going to a completely new market that they don't want your new subscription model for your business. And you're going to suffer because nobody wants to buy. Nobody wants to buy on a subscription model. You need to find a market that will accept that, the product or service that you want. Obviously, that's most priority. And then are they willing to accept how you're presenting it? If every cab and every Uber was 100% cash, it wouldn't be successful. But people want what they're offering, the rides, and they made it easy in, obviously electronic transaction, just clicking your phone and buying and having that person show up and done. So make sure that the solution fits the problem. And again, if it doesn't, or where you're going to make a mistake. And if you do, it's okay. Don't sweat it. And guess what? And this is what kills me with some of my larger clients that, again, do these knee-jerk reaction things. They will never admit they're wrong. They'll never admit they're wrong until A, they're bankrupt, B, they get fired, and then the people in charge put stuff back in place that they did. Or C, they lose so much revenue, or they're just bleeding so much in expenses that they're just not using good critical thinking skills. And so those are the biggest issues that I see. And I think it's an ego thing. I think most of the time you have an ego of, well, I'm in charge and I'm going to cut expenses and I'll be happy. They think they're saving their job when in fact they're not doing anything other than hurting the business, hurting themselves. If you're an owner, that's a direct top and bottom line result. And of course you have other people you're responsible for as well. So, think through those things and just don't be afraid to say you're wrong. That I think is the biggest, no matter what problem you have, no matter what solution you have, no matter what market you go to, no matter what you're trying to do, if you can just think through the problem critically, understand good solutions, and be willing to say, oh man, I screwed up, let's try something else, you have no idea where it's going to take you. You'll be head and shoulders above every other business within your competitive space and outside. You'll be a better leader, you'll be a better business person, you'll be more profitable, and you'll last through all of these hard times. So I hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll kind of getting into planning. I think that's going to be a critical step going forward in whatever situation you're in. So hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.